Welcome to All Worn Out. I'm your host, Warren Meredith. On the show today, musician Jayla Kirkey. She loves to sing, write music, perform live, and she does a lot of it. She does it at the Heart and Crown, Crazy Horse, legendary venues, the Chateau Lafayette. How about an Ottawa Senators game? Let's get started now with Jayla Kirkey. Welcome to All Worn Out. We have the very amazing, the cool, the classy, the beautiful, the uber talented, the sensational Jayla D. Kirkey. Jayla D., normally I announce the bands you're in, but you're in a lot of bands. Let us know, which bands are you in, Jayla?
I'm in a couple. So my main outfit is the VanDuras. We play mostly covers, but this week we actually started to write. We got a few ideas popping around, so that might change. We might change from a cover band to an original band. We'll see. And then I got a few duos that I play in. I play in Steamy Boots with my partner, Scott Reeves. I play in the Silverados with Alex McFarlane. He plays keys. He's usually on drums in the VanDuras. I play with Skyler Radmore. We do covers and we write and perform originals, mostly his songs. And there was a couple tributes that we tried to start out. Tried to start a hip tribute and then realized that there was like 10 million of them. So we only played a couple shows with that. And then I really wanted to launch a Shania Twain tribute. We played a couple of shows this year and then we're applying for a bunch of stuff next year. So,
oh, that's so exciting.
I think that's all of them.
Well, I think that's all of them for now.
Yeah. At least.
I mean, it says on your profile that the whole musician thing started August 12th, 2021. Is there anything to that date? Is there any meaning to that, or is that just way off?
I think that's actually when I broke my ankle and I had to shut down my cleaning business and I went full-time music. Maybe that was when.
See, that'd be pretty cool if that is the date. I mean, I have one of those dates in my head too, where I just was like shut down and things. And I was like, no, tomorrow it's about this. It's about music.
Okay.
And,
what's your date?
November 9th, 2009.
Okay.
So yeah, and I had been kicked out of theater school and I was home and I was like very confused as to whether I was supposed to do music or theater or both, because I had I had a lifelong dream of doing theater. And then all of a sudden I discovered my voice, and singing in a band and doing that briefly before I went off to school. And then I was at school and then I started getting really high marks in choir. And I was like, oh, because everybody in theater school has like a gift. They have a talent. They're special in some way. Okay. And you're like trying to figure out what yours is. Like there was this guy, Joe. The guy was just like crazy flexible. He could do backflips. He was like a ninja, and like there was a girl and she just had that look of like she would always get certain roles. I'm not going to say what stereotype, but that's kind of how you get jobs in the business is you have a certain look to you and then you keep getting called back for that look.
Oh,
and like talent's secondary. You know what I mean? In the small actors world, if I could put it that way. And there's no small actors, or what's the saying? There's no small parts, only small actors. I don't know. It's something like that. Yeah, my mom used to say that to me.
Okay.
Back on track.
Okay.
Steamy Boots, is that an original band?
No, that's covers. So
what's the fascination with covers here, Jayla D. Kirkey?
Oh, geez. Okay, so my musical history was I had an original band. It was an original blues band, and it was with my former partner. And when the relationship ended, obviously shortly after the band ended, and so it was kind of like double the heartbreak for me. And I had to take a huge step back away because it's not only this relationship that you've invested all this time and energy into, but you kind of pour your heart and soul into these songs. And that was a whole other heartbreak that I went through. So I just didn't want to do original music after that. I said I swore off it. So when I met Scott, I know, sorry, I'm going like heavy right
That's
away.
okay. I like it.
So when I met Scott, I, was looking to do more music. I could barely I think I could play and sing maybe 5 songs at that point. So he was looking to do something different musically. So we just kind of dove into it together, and the goal was to put a duo show together so that we could play shows and make money. I don't know what his reasoning was at that time for not doing originals, but we both kind of had the same goals at that point, and that's how it started. Anyways.
Well, very cool.
Very long answer.
No, it's a great answer. I saw you at the Sens game for the exhibition game earlier this year, and you were killing it. You were doing Zeppelin. You were all of your covers were super appropriate. The person I was with, I was like, each cover here is like a huge song in the last year or two, besides the Killers song, which is of course for Brady, and Mr. Brightside, right? And I thought you warmed up. I thought you did you eased in, and then you pulled down the hammer, which I really enjoyed.
Thank you.
And
that means a lot coming from you.
Oh, well, we like to sing. And the fact that you're a blues vocalist, going back all those years, I mean, gosh, that's a vocalist after my own heart. And then people that well, your control is phenomenal. That's what I would say was really noticeable to me. It's like beyond my control, right? And it's very cool. No, you should be proud.
Thank
and
you.
like at first, it's like when I see how much great events you play, because you're doing like 15 this month, right?
13.
13, okay. Mm-hmm. And like they're all very cool events. Like the Heart and Crown is an establishment here where people expect to get a great show. They expect to get great music, and the crowd can be demanding and also very energetic there. And I've had a few artists come on here who are doing the Heart and Crown thing. How is that for you? How's that experience at the Heart?
Oh, geez. The Heart and Crown is a mixed bag. I guess it depends whether we're playing in the back at Mother McGinty's or if I'm playing at the front solo or duo. You never really know what you're going to get there. Sometimes there's like a big event coming through town and you'll be playing on a Sunday and it'll just get rammed. And you're like, oh, I'm just going to have a nice, easy night. And then it's packed. So you never really know what you're going to get. I absolutely love playing there for that reason. It's one of my favorite places to play. Yeah, the back room, geez. We actually played a private party there. I think it was in September. And it was for real estate agents. And we're like, oh, it was on a Tuesday. We're like, oh, this is going to be easy gig. We're going to be probably done by like 11:30. It was the complete opposite. Like real estate agents, like they want to party. They went all night long.
Yeah.
They just like from the first song, the dance floor was packed and we just had an absolute blast there. I talked to the DJ who played in the front room that night, DJ Kwame. Huh. And I talked to him a few weeks later at Crazy Horse, and he said that he ended up like DJing for 2 extra hours because they just wanted more. So anyways, yeah, another long answer. Heart and Crown's great. I love playing there.
That's a great answer again, though. I mean, yeah, because I got great like video imagery in my mind when you were talking about this party, and I was going to like, Wolf of Wall Street. I know they're real estate agents and not stockbrokers, but I started imagining these wild guys like, woo, we're partying on that,
That's an accurate.
Yeah.
That's very accurate.
Yeah. We're going streaking.
Yeah. I'll show you a video after. There was a guy dressed as Deadpool who had like this whole dance to one of our songs. And I meant to post it before Halloween, but I forgot. You just reminded me.
People can really affect and impact our sets, when you're on stage. I didn't really remember this until I was playing a show at Gatineau. And I saw this old man at the back of the bar. And I think this was a place called Cafe Renaissance or some crap like that. And this guy at the back of the bar was playing spoons. like full on out to our rock band, you know? And like, this was like early days Taming Sorry. And I was like, yeah, this just adds to it, you know? And then afterwards, this girl coming up to our drummer and being like, she's totally drunk, like very, very, very intoxicated. And just like, I just want to play your kit. Can I just play your kit for like 5 minutes? Like, not long. I just want to play your kit, couple minutes. And we're like, oh, like, get the kit, get it out of here, you know? Like, you never know what to expect with a lot of shows, you know? But when it's Heart and Crown, it reminds me of Cheers in the way that I'll bet you it has like some regulars and it has like an ambiance and a feel to it, which is something Miguel always will say from, you know, our older than guitar player from Taming Sorry. He'd always go into the bar and say, pas d'ambiance ici. I can't eat here. There's no ambiance. There's no vibe. I'm not interested. Also, I looked at the menu and there's no escargot. I'm not interested. And I'm serious. He wants that. Like, he wants
a vibe.
Yeah. He wants lots of ambience or whatever he calls it, you know? But
that's awesome.
Right?
I want to meet this guy.
Everybody loves him. Everybody loves
Big.
Big.
Until the escargot, though.
He's been go-karting all summer, folks. So if you could track him down, tell him I love him.
I don't blame him. I went to Speeders when I was out west with my nephews this trip. I just got back from, and go-karting that's an experience, man. It was a great time.
Right? It is a lot of fun. It is.
Gosh.
And so speaking about the traveling, it's probably my dog's here. I'm sorry. Speaking of the traveling, you went like very far, didn't you? Because like I was watching some of your video, and what I noticed is like you seem like you're a very confident traveler. Like
I'm a road hammer. Yeah.
A road hammer.
That's my
road dog.
I'm a road dog too.
That's so awesome.
My dog takes that title, but yeah, my friend Sean said that. He's like, road hammer responding. I'm like, yeah, that's accurate.
Because like I saw you pulled into sleep in like this area where it was like closed, the gate was closed, and you're like, whatever, I'm just gonna sleep in front of the gate.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't have the balls to do that. I'd be scared. I'd be like, I'm driving all night. I'm not.
That was Broadview, Saskatchewan. Yeah. I only know the name because I saw it on the way back. I'm like, hey, that's the gate that I slept in front of. Well, because not all the rest areas are marked on the map, and I guess they must close them earlier than I thought. So, you know, I'll put one into my GPS, and then half the time I get there and it's closed, and it's like, okay, I can't go another minute. Like, I'm not going any further. I'm just going to sleep here.
Fair enough. I think that's cool.
But yes, I do like to travel. My family lives in Alberta, and my dog is too big to bring with me on the plane. I can't bear the thought of trying to put her below, like in the cabin or wherever they put the dogs. They don't really ensure their safety either. So yeah, we drive. We drive out west a lot.
That's really cool. I mean, well, like I said, you seemed experienced and like you knew what you were doing. And you do. And your dog is so cool. Is your dog a purebred beagle?
I don't think so. They told me that when I got her, but I only paid like $100 for her. And I wish I had taken pictures because I remember meeting the dad, which was like a blue tick beagle. And then I remember when I got there, the girl's like, oh, that's the mom. And I remember looking at it like, that's the weirdest beagle I've ever seen. Like, I remember it had a dock tail and wasn't very beagle-like, so I don't think so. And the fact that I paid $100, and she tried to give me 2 when I got there, I was like, so yeah.
I hear you, and it's like I was telling you when you got here, Sasha, the big goof who people have seen interrupt several podcasts down here, we thought she was going to be like a 60, 70 pound Husky Shepherd mix, you know, like standard. But she just kept growing, and her chest cavity, her chest is huge. Like it was like, no, it's like she's not fat. She's just, you know, Cartman style big boned, you know? And yeah, and just a big love bug. That's what they're so great for. Is they're so loving, and they're the best, right?
How old is she?
Sasha's like turning 9, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's 12 now.
Cool.
Which is, yeah.
I know. She's getting a bit older, but
she's slowing down, yeah. I know.
That's the worst part about pets and animals, right? Because my cat's turning 20 in May, and it's just like the same thing. Watching her slow down, and I have like things with her goals where I tell her like, you have to be able to do this and this, Chloe, and then I know you're happy.
Yeah.
So like I have her food up high, so she has to like hop up and get it.
Okay.
And she has to hop up on the bed, things like that. I'm not gonna give her like stairs. Like she's pretty fit. She knows what she's doing for
20.
an old kitty cat,
I
you
gotta
know?
meet your pets before I leave.
Yeah, definitely. They'll love it. They'll love it. So you mentioned Crazy Horse. That's a bar that I remember from not my childhood, but going back a long time now to my youth. And is it still crazy? Is Crazy Horse still crazy?
Yeah, I think so. But like crazy in a good way. Like the staff there are amazing. They're really passionate about the music. So everything is always in working order. The security are on point. Like the second we step off the stage, they step on there. They make sure nobody messes around with your equipment. The food's incredible there. It's one of my favorite places to play. I absolutely love that place. We get weird song requests from the managers. The last song request we got was Mambo number 5, which like we tried. We had a gig at Heart and Crown the weekend before, so we're like, okay, we're gonna try it. It completely flopped. Like it was so bad. It cleared the dance floor. People were wondering what we were doing. So after that, I went online and I ordered a trumpet kazoo. And I added that. And then the next time it went over successfully. So the only thing that was missing was the trumpet kazoo.
I believe you. I believe you. Have you had people come on stage? Like, have you had drunk people come on stage, grab the microphone, do anything like that?
I've had people try.
Yeah.
I am not above shoving somebody if they try to like get into my space. The great thing about Crazy Horse is they have a big wood beam in front of you, so that doesn't really happen there, but it's definitely happened to me at Heart and Crown. And we've had somebody get on stage before and play drums while we weren't there. People, there's certain places where if they're understaffed that night and there isn't a security guard posted up, like people always try when we're not there. They don't try when we're like, I'll just push people. I don't let people come on stage when I'm there, but I definitely try when we're like,
you like
away.
You Josh homie them. You're like, no, get off.
Have I kicked anyone?
I would if some like. Well, first of all,
I've definitely kicked somebody's foot.
Yeah.
Like when they're like they try to just have their foot on stage. I don't know why. I'll kick their foot, but no, I guess I'm a shover.
That's good. In like London a year ago or something like that, a guy came up. We'd given him like signed drumsticks because he asked for those and he wanted this. We were so nice to this guy. And then he ended up being like hammered and coming up on stage and like trying to take the microphone. And I'm like, no, man. And like going back a long time ago, like 20 years when I was doing play-by-play for the GGs, there was a whole bunch of Ottawa U students in the venue. And they came through. This one girl like grabbed the microphone right out of my hand and was like, global warming is a serious issue. Everybody needs to understand that global warming is so serious.
I shouldn't laugh at that.
Isn't it ridiculous though? Because they were hammered. Like they were hammered university students going in to like support their hockey team.
Message.
Right? I'm going to tell the world and I'm going to take, it was like a podcast that maybe had like the parents watching the live stream because it was like 2008, so it's like old school for the internet kind of in live streaming terms.
Yeah.
Like we were kind of at the front of live streaming sports. Okay. And which was good and bad, right? Because then you were like, maybe we have 50 people, but they're all parents. So eventually I think they started getting mad at me because I was like, this team is undisciplined. They need to stop taking penalties. And I was like really mad at the team for just being undisciplined all the time. And eventually like my co-host who like was a goalie in the AHL, was like, "Warren, you need to like lay off of the team. Like you're being too hard on the home team." And I'm like, "I'm not a homer. I'm not a Leafs fan."
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
I'm gonna call you out.
That's right. You perform a lot for the Ottawa Senators.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to ask you how much you enjoy that.
Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh. It's one of my favorite gigs that we do for sure. Even like from Bert's to, not just the Sens games, but at Bert's. It's just the hockey vibe and hockey culture is just such an amazing thing. And they have brought back a lot more music, whereas they weren't doing it very much in the past. It was that DJ all the time. I can't remember his name right now. But I think this year they're doing it for almost every game, or they're doing something other than just the DJ. And I really think that the music really, it makes the crowd go a little more crazy.
Well, I'll tell you.
In a good way, in a good kind of crazy.
I think it's a very difficult job that you're doing, and you're making it look easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
fooled everybody.
Yeah, I think you do make it look way easier than it is. Like I had a much more difficult time on that stage than you do. Like you're killing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I didn't. They've had no. Yes.
Okay, I wanna.
But I mean, also we were blocking Eugene Melnick's car into the garage, and his daughters were in the limo, like in this SUV, this blacked out windowed thing, and the daughters were in it. And then he came walking into the room, and we were packing up in the truck, and we just had the truck in the loading zone for like maybe 5 minutes. And I was told Mig to go. He's the driver of the truck. Told him take your pass back because you have your passes at security. So I told him, like, take your pass back. We can't keep those. And so he was just taking that back and then coming back to the truck to move it. But in that time, Eugene Melnick walked down and was like, "Get this bleeping fucking truck out of here right now. Why is it blocking my car? Me and my daughters need to get the fuck out of here." And like the door opened to the SUV and the daughter's like, Dad, like what's going on? And he was like, "Don't worry, I'm getting it dealt with." And he looked at me and was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, Miguel,
Go.
Miguel is a billionaire and he's mad. Miguel.
So is that the only time you played the game?
Yeah, we did it we played there one time, but we did no covers. We did 3 original songs.
It's so cool.
And we actually took like equal amounts of hate and love. And so like after the game, we had like lots of haters. We had people come on and attack, mostly me. And it was like, and it's just like, well, yeah, but it's people don't take into account anything. They don't take into account reverb or lack of. They don't take into account how difficult it is to get a good setup in that arena. And it takes time. And we didn't necessarily have that.
No, it's very,
right? It's not all about your sound.
You've got minutes. So did you guys use in-ear monitors when you were there?
Yes. Yeah.
Because that's a huge problem is the delay that comes back from the other side of the arena. Like, I've also read some not so nice comments online after we played the Sens games. I saw somebody comment at the beginning of this season saying, "Oh, are they gonna have music on the intermissions?" And then some guy commented, "I hope not. That girl in the red coat is terrible." Oh, no. And then I've also read some people accusing the musicians of lip syncing because when you see it up on the TV or you're close enough to see them, it doesn't always line up. It's just the way that it goes around the arena. So yeah, I've gotten the love and the hate in that place. I'm sorry that happened to you, though. That's definitely.
I think it's important, and I think it's part of like artist growth, and it's like a baptism by fire, and it's part of this realization that the bigger or the more success you get, and if you're able to sustain success, especially like keep it going, you're gonna find people are very bitter. People who were never able to get that going in that pattern. they're very bitter about it. And I actually would look at some of the people who said some of the things to me, because they'd say, like, this guy can't sing, he's garbage, whatever. And then I'd look at their comment, I'd look at their profile, and they'd be like a 50-year-old who used to sing, for example. You know what I mean? Who used to be in a rock band.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is Uncle Rico factor, like from Napoleon Dynamite, where it's just that guy who's like, I used to throw that football. And like, we always get it outside of opening gigs, like big opening gigs. I get people, guys, especially old guys, come up to me in their 50s and 60s, like, I used to open for like Supertramp, and like I opened for Scorpions and this and that. And I'm like, cool, that's awesome. Like,
but you must have a lot of people that come up and just absolutely love what you do. Like, I really?
Yes and no.
Can I listened to your band on the way here to get like amped up for the podcast.
Yeah.
I was just, I think you're amazing.
Thanks. We do have people who are really amazing to us. And I shouldn't say that, like, yes, okay. I have people who found us through Twitter who are my friends now, and they're in Germany, and they're in Vermont, and they're in different places around the world, and they just chat with me every few days, and they've been very concerned with how things have been with the band, and like, is it going to keep going? And I'm like, yes, it's just, I'm not going to do anything fast. Yeah. I'm not going to make any fast moves, and I want whatever to happen to be as close to natural as possible. You know what I mean? As organic, as they used to say in the TV business that I worked in. I worked on a gardening show here in Ottawa called Dig In for the Home and Garden Network. And one of the comments we used to get all the time from the network was, try and make it more organic. And we're like, we're outside. There's a sun and there's water and there's a garden.
Yeah, what
Whoa,
do you want?
Exactly. Right?
You've led an interesting life. Like, you need to have an episode where somebody just interviews you the whole time, because
but
like theater, TV, original band.
Yeah, well,
I didn't know any.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I was
done more homework.
No, it's hard to find out stuff about me and about certain things, because I kind of had times in my life that I was ping-ponging. I don't know if you had that, but I didn't really know where I was going to fit. And I was trying really hard to fit somewhere. And so, like, I was in love for the first time when I was 19. And I'd always thought growing up to that point, I'm going to go to theater school. I'm going to go to theater school one day. And then I got into theater school and I was like, but if I go, I'm going to leave my love behind. And then I instead did TV broadcasting at Algonquin so that I could stay here.
Where was the theater school?
I got into Ryerson, York, Humber, a whole bunch of places, mostly in Toronto. And so then, and I was like, it was a passion, you know, just like singing. And I didn't know I could sing. And then I found out I could sing when I was like between 21 and 23. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so I worked in TV and I was like, I hate this. Like, I'm working for someone else's creative, artistic end goal. And I could see it. And I could see I was like a pawn in this scheme. And I didn't mind getting paid, but at the same time, I was like, I wish I was just working on my own creative dream. So yeah,
some people spend their whole life trying to find something like that, like a career like that.
And then after that, I went to theater school briefly, and I decided after the relationship ended, and I decided I'd fucked up, and then I was like, okay, now I'm gonna go to theater school. But then I got there, and I'd been in a band the year previous where I was, like said, I was just first discovering that I had a voice. And I was not good at that time. I was crappy. And I was trying to play guitar, and I was trying to play guitar and my fingers would bleed, like, because I was so bad at it, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but the bug, I got it. It was in me. This thing where I was like, oh, I can write and get on stage and sing my stuff that I
great.
This is yeah, there she goes. It's so funny.
Sorry.
Oh, no worries.
Like squirrel.
Exactly.
Like cat.
But, you know, so I did the theater school for a bit. Then I realized I wanted to be here. And being in choir helped me realize that, like I was saying, because I was getting good grades and I was helping people in choir who I realized couldn't really sing or were tone deaf or whatever. There was, you know, like, you're the same as me, I bet, where the choir director was like, Warren, today you're alto. Today you're soprano. Today, you're this, right? Would you say that you'll get moved around if you were in a choir to help whatever group needed it?
Maybe, but like if I'm being completely honest, I don't even know what those terms mean. I am not.
You're too humble.
I don't know the difference between alto and soprano. I don't know the terminology. I don't really know music theory. I got into music really late, and I'm glad that you said that I used to be terrible, because I tell people that sometimes and they're like, "Oh no, you must have been singing since you were a child." I'm like, no, not. I wasn't. I didn't get into it until my 20s. I didn't get any like decent at all until I was like very late 20s. And yeah, some people just don't believe it. I'm like, no, I was a terrible karaoke singer. Like I would be drunk on stage trying to do karaoke, and people would ask my friends, "Do you know that girl?" And they'd say no. So
yes, you're
the first person that I met that has said something like that. Most people are like, "Oh, I've been singing all my life," or "I've done this," and
I performed on stage and acted, but I never believed that my voice was my tool. My mom was a singer.
Very cool.
My mom sang like Patsy Cline, and people loved her when she'd sing the Patsy Cline or Strawberry Wine, or certain country from that era. You're talking about Shania Twain before, and I know that like you grew up during that era of aerobics, when all the moms would get together and they go have aerobics and they would like dance to like Garth Brooks. Do you have any memories like that? I have memories like that.
How old are you?
I'm an 86 baby.
86?
Yeah.
I'm 88.
Yeah, you're the same as my sister.
Okay.
And I just have, maybe it's just a small town thing because I grew up in a small town. Did you grow up in Ottawa?
No, I grew up in a small town too. I kind of lived like in this little triangle in Ontario. So I grew up in a northern town called Inglehart until I was about 8 or 9. And then we lived in North Bay for a little bit. And then I moved down south to a small town called New Hamburg, and then lived there till I was about 17. And then we moved to Ottawa. And then from there, my family moved out west a couple years later. So yeah.
Do you still consider yourself a small town girl?
Living in a lonely world?
Yes.
Yeah. I like small towns. Although I find Ottawa is a small town city. It doesn't really have the big city feel. But yeah, I definitely like the small towns. I like
it's
the
wild.
Country.
Yeah, the country's fun. I remember when I met a band from LA at Canadian Music Week, and they'd just flown in, and I was like, "So, how you liking the driving here? Pretty crazy city, eh?" And they were just like laughing. They thought it was hysterical that I thought that I was joking with them that like Toronto had a lot of traffic, which it does, and it's horrible. But these people from LA were like, "This is nothing," And
I haven't been to LA, but I feel like Ottawa's on its way there. The traffic is.
It's not that bad. You get stuck in literally for like 4 hours in LA.
Okay.
Like you'll be stuck like in a loop for like a super long time. And it's absurd. Yeah, it's really nuts just because of the population density.
Okay.
And it's similar to Toronto, right? Like if you go into Toronto and you get stuck on the Don Valley Parkway or whatever, and you're just like, when will this ever end?
A bunch of time goes by and your car hasn't moved.
I know, it sucks.
I got in a traffic jam at midnight on Saturday night.
Midnight?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shouldn't be.
No.
That shouldn't be.
But yeah, I'm not going to complain because somebody from LA is going to watch this and be like, this idiot.
Oh, these Ottawans. Oh, these Canucks.
They have no idea.
Whatever. And so, Skyler Radmore, how long have you known Skyler for? I don't know Skyler, but I find him to be incredibly talented. Everything that I've seen, heard, listened to, observed, I think he's super talented.
Yeah, he's amazing. I think I met Skyler in like 2019, I'd say. It wasn't until he asked me to do vocals on one of his last band songs that we really started to work together in that capacity. But yeah, he's the one that kind of sucked me back into the original music because I was still I was still away from it until then. And I also thought that it was kind of that you had to get into it at a certain age and that you had to make it before you were 30 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we worked together. I was just there today, actually. My dog's there right now. Him and his girlfriend are dog sitting for me, so that I could come here and do the podcast. And then I think I'm going to go back. We're going to try and do some more songwriting tonight. Cause last time we did this, I was there during the day. We were just, butting our heads, really trying to get something down. Couldn't come up with anything. He had a massage appointment. I had a date with a friend. We went, did our thing, and then came back, and then we ended up writing a song that night. So not going to try and jinx it or anything, but maybe that'll happen tonight. But he's a great musical influence in my life. Him and my partner play together as well. So yeah, he's my good musical homie.
Nice. And like, that's so exciting. Like, you're finding you have that joy again to write. And it's so much fun when you're able to build that up, build it up, tear it down, build it back up. And then,
It's a lot of that. Yeah.
Right? And then at least if you have fun with it and you dig in,
Yeah.
and it's just an amazing experience to then release it. It's very cathartic, especially if you plan the release and you do all the things that you can do to make it fun and interactive. And that's what I tried to do over the years, was make our releases more and more interactive. Try and make sure that the music videos included the fans and gave them every option to be a part of our experience.
Yeah.
And so doing this is just such a fun, creative experiment in today's world. And because it's an ongoing talk here on All Worn Out with all the artists, how difficult it is to stand out with original music today, with 100,000 new Spotify songs every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to say, I think you're doing a fantastic job because you're going about this in your own unique way. And I think it's smart. I think it's good because, gosh, you're playing a bunch of legendary places, aren't you? And these are all places that have high standards. And people can say whatever they want, but you're playing at places with high standards and you're making them happy and you're being asked back again and again. And as an artist, this is huge. This is massive. And now you're building on this foundation of fantastic artists that you've worked with over the years.
Really.
And you're working off that experience. And the thing about working in popular covers is suddenly your brain becomes more attuned to the hooks that are hitting today.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes, it's really tricky with covers, I find. I don't think that currently they really stand the test of time as much as they used to. I'm sure, many people would agree. We'll add some new and current covers and they will just hit for, a few months. And then one day they'll just be dead. We'll just do a cover that was, number one for like the last year or 6 months. And then we'll do it. And I'll just, me and my partner, Scott, will talk about this all the time, where on the drive home, I'll be like, that song's dead now. Like, we won't cut it right away. We'll do it a couple more times, but it's just like, did you notice that the crowd, they didn't feel that song at all?
Fascinating.
So
that's so cool.
It's pretty tricky. It's pretty tricky to pick songs. I wasn't really resonating with a lot of new music that was coming out. And then the last year, there's a few songs that have come out, like that Beautiful Things Benson Boone song that we do. That song, I think I'm going to keep playing it even when it isn't as popular anymore, just because the lyrics resonate with me so much.
What a genius write, by the way. What an insanely genius write. Because the dynamics are perfect and he fools you. And this is a rock song, right?
Yeah.
It's a rock song, but it didn't hit on rock radio. It hit on pop radio, which for the bank account is better. And also for the number of listeners. So, but still, it's like he fools you. That song lures you in with softness, and then it smacks you down.
Yeah.
And that's such a great dynamic lesson for anyone writing a song is don't just write it straight. Don't just, if you have one tempo or one feel, change it up at some point.
He does, yeah, he changes the timing on it.
Yeah.
He's another artist that I read that didn't know he could sing, found his voice, and decided to, can't remember what his original career was, but decided like, okay, no, I'm going to be an artist and I'm going to go after it with everything I've got. So I find him very inspiring. Something I wanted to circle back to that you mentioned was, the artists that I surround myself with is, I just consider myself so lucky that I've found these people because they're just unbelievable musicians, some of the people that I play with. I'm really thankful for them. They make me want to just like woodshed all winter, really like put my head down and try to be better all the time. They make me better, right? And we all kind of like amp each other up when one of us hits something for the first time. It's always like you look at each other and you give like a little look. So
yeah.
Shout out to my awesome bandmates there.
Yeah, if I ever like go on a little run or something, or I hit something high or whatever, I'm playing with it, and my bass player looks over like, yeah, and I'm like, yes, they noticed, and it's so true.
It's like a proud mom or dad moment, but like with your band somehow,
right?
Yeah.
And I tell people like the time I was never been more proud of my band was at Blues Fest when they were doing the transitions, intros, outros that they'd planned so that they never stopped playing the entire set. You know what I mean? There was never a moment of quiet.
That is awesome.
And so I just remember being like feeling so blessed the way you're describing. And I mean, they're all of your musicians are super talented, and I'll say that firsthand, witnessing them myself. And like at the Sens game, was one of them a hired gun? Was one of them like not normally in your band?
Yes. So our guitarist Mitch Mainville, love Mitch so much. He plays in quite a few musical outfits as well. He recently gave up his career and decided to go full-time music. And in doing that, he started to play with a few more projects. He plays with Steph La Rochelle, who is amazing. He also plays with the band Silver Creek. So that night, he actually had 2 gigs. And one of them was a sold-out NAC show with Steph. And it was funny because he was calling me and trying to be like, well, if I left here at this time, like I might be able to make it. And I was like, Mitch, you can't, like, you never know what's going to happen with hockey sometimes. Like, it's never an exact time that we're going on stage.
Exactly. They're like, you're like, now.
It's like, well, it's heads up hockey. Like they give us a 3-second countdown.
Exactly.
And then we need to even, you have to time your sets.
That's right.
Or otherwise they'll cut you off.
And that's
which I witnessed them do to a different band, which, it's not.
It's an ugly ending.
It kind of sounds savage, but at the same time, it's.
Oh, you're not the main attraction. In the end, they're paying to see the hockey game. And so that's what's going to happen.
So, Mitch wasn't able to play with us that night. Unfortunately, we were all devastated about that. But we had Vaughn Palma step in. And it was actually, we had hired him for that weekend to play with us at Crazy Horse because Mitch was going on a cruise with his partner, Katie. And he was already cramming on our song list. But then the Sens game came down the line and Mitch wasn't able to do it. So the first gig that Vaughn ever played with us was actually the Sens game, which was, I can't imagine. He was cool.
Awesome.
He was cool as a cucumber too. Like he was just like I'm backstage like, okay, like don't freak out. And he's just like, he was very chill about it. So he did an amazing job.
The whole band was impressive. Your drummer's very, very skilled.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Alex is a monster.
Scott, I thought was great. He has a real natural appeal to him, like with the crowd. He felt like he was working the crowd at that Sens game, and I think like that's hard to do. Like even as a front man, you're like, how do I like make the crowd like work it? But I saw him and I'm like, he's working it. Like he knows what he's doing.
Scott's great. He's always great. He's usually the one that talks to the crowd more than I do. That isn't one of my best skills, I'll say. So Scott's usually our hype man. But yeah, and Scott's also a hockey boy. So he grew up playing hockey, is very passionate about it. So if I had to say what Scott's favorite gig is definitely the Sens games.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like full of electricity every time we're there,
Kid in a candy store and
that's
living the
him.
dream.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so cool, man. And I loved it. And you mentioned the Silverado. Not the Silverados. What was the band you mentioned?
Silver Creek.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's old school, folks. That's amazing to hear. So, like, to know they're back and killing it and doing great things because
they just played a Sens game.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember them like 12 years ago, like going way back to when I was just entering into the scene.
Oh, yeah.
And doing competitions on Canada Day, going up against Fabian Melanson and legends like
Javier.
Yeah, man, legends in the scene and breaking my teeth in with those legends.
Can I ask, do you ever brush shoulders with the band Junkie and the Spider?
I don't, but I remember how big they were, and I remember how they took over, and like it was Zaphods, and it was like legendary.
Yeah.
And that's, I know, something that could have been much bigger than it ended up being.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part about it. But otherwise, I do remember it took over.
So they were the band that I was actually working at a call center, like a telemarketing place, which I was absolutely horrible at. Yeah. But one of my coworkers was the bass player, Dave Daly, and he said, "Oh, my band's playing a show in a couple weeks, like you should come." And I went to see them, and it was Baseline Station, which is now Neighborhood Pub. And I remember walking in and seeing their front woman, which is TJ Vandervelden, and I'm like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I want to do that. So that's the only reason I brought it up was
cool. Yeah. No, I mean, that's those stories going back now. I really cherish them, the old stories that I have, but at the time they were very painful memories. Mm-hmm. The first time I ever opened for somebody and wasn't prepared for that with my band and learned the slapping lesson. And then it takes time to come back, right? And regain respect and trust. And so like what happened was we were opening for Lindy Ortega, who was nominated for a Juno that year, and she was killing it. And we were asked to open, and it was me and two acoustic guitarists, and they each only brought one guitar. The guitarist snapped his string. Just chaos. Oh. And so then it's like
everything you have nightmares about just coming true.
And then you're just looking at like the promoter and everybody, and like they look at you like you're an idiot. And then like I'm still singing. Like I'm not gonna stop. And it's like that happened like 15 years ago or whatever. But it's like these are the moments where now I look back at, and it's like, well, those are what make me way better now and way more prepared, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly. And you can only have so many of those. That's the other thing. But I remember driving in the car and listening to Rebel 1017 and hearing them talk about Civilian. And I was like, I know Cliff. Cliff's my friend. I used to play shows with them all the time when they weren't Civilian. And I want to do this again. And I had been on the shelf for a couple of years. I just hadn't been doing music. I'd taken myself completely out of it for about 2 years. And then this thing like yanked me on a chain and then
pulled you back in.
Exactly. And I think the lesson I learned from that was setting specific goals is huge. Like, so in that moment, my brain set a specific goal that it wanted to get on Rebel 1017. That it wanted to be played there. And it set that goal as a specific point, and it ended up happening for like 5 years. I got to jump in my car, turn the radio on, and sometimes randomly it would be me yelling back at myself.
That's
and
so
right. And for 5 years we got that really cool blessing. And I just will tell people that I know it's because it was manifested in this moment of not jealousy, but admiration, appreciation, and realization that, like, yeah, you have to go for what you believe in and trust in yourself. So I'm so thrilled that you're writing new music. That was going to be something I was going to kind of attack you about. I was going to kind of be like, Jayla D. Kirkey, why are you so amazing? Because here's what some bands would get annoyed with you about. Some of these original bands out there might get annoyed. They might say, oh my God, Jayla D. Kirkey's wasting these amazing hype opportunities. She should be releasing songs at the same time as this amazing hype opportunity. Has anyone ever said that to you before?
No.
Because
yeah, they've definitely come up and been like, do you have your own music? I'm like, oh,
you have
not
to.
yet. Like I've got a couple, but we've been so busy and in a great way. We've been busy and successful with VanDuras that I didn't have as much time for that. So what you were talking about earlier of planning your releases and making sure you can make it, as successful as possible. That's what I'm studying up on right now because I see people release songs and then have them go absolutely nowhere. The competition out there is unreal right now. I find even playing original shows, it's tough to get an audience these days. So that's, I'm trying to try on a few different hats right now. And I definitely want to pick your brain about the release strategy and what
you have to plan
or what you say maybe stay away from. I mean, me and Skyler shot our first music video and we released that and it's got like 200 views right now. So
there's something to be said about YouTube and views, and that is just that like you can pay to have your video seen. You can make it get looked at. Now, this doesn't generally result in a whole bunch of comments or a whole bunch of likes. So it's kind of pointless because what you really want is interaction and engagement.
Yeah.
And with our video, No Shelter, I ended up messaging maybe 4,000 different people through Facebook. And out of that, I got maybe 400 comments. Like 1 in 10 people that I spoke with ended up commenting on No Shelter.
You asked them to go comment?
I just messaged them with I tried to make it not generic. I tried to make it not a cut and paste, but like look at the person and judge how to talk to them. And then I did. And there's all kinds of tactics. There's paying people.
Yeah.
There's guerrilla tactics, which I'm describing right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's Spotify tactics, which you're going to have to figure out because... And you have to, like I said, the more you set the goals, the specific goal, the better your results are going to be. So like, for example, when we were working with RPM, with Crazy, and we were like, okay, what's our goal with this song? What's our goal? And and we were like, the goal is for this song to chart into the top 40 on the Canadian active rock radio chart. And our producer was like, nope, not possible. Most likely impossible. And then I was like, oh yeah? Well, Mike Rice from RPM is working with us. So probably, maybe. And, and he was like...
Did it make you want it more? Because he told you no?
Yes, it did. And, but he wins anyways. Ross is brilliant. And he wins because his band is now on tour with the Sheepdogs for 40 dates in Europe. So Ross wins. Don't worry, folks. But anyways... I always try and stick it back to the producer, but in the end, the musically, they're pretty smart and have a good idea about the scene. Yeah. But Crazy had some magic to it. It had a little bit of lightning in a bottle, and not full blown because it would have gone further if it did, but it had a little bit of that. And when we worked with those people, they taught us some lessons, which was, you're going to pay us, and we're going to work hard for you, and we're going to call the radio stations.
Yeah.
But you're going to work as equally hard. Here's a plan for you guys to do while we're working, because we all need to fire on all cylinders. And when the radio stations do listen to us and they do go look at your social medias, they better be pumping. Yeah. They better be hype, because that's the war of original music is hype.
Yeah.
And if you see all the way up to the very top, and people who say like Drake, who says like, oh, I've got the #1 Spotify listens in the world. You bought them. Yeah. And that's cool. Now you hold that. That's great. And it ended up feeding you all these fans, which is the cool part about Spotify. People rake on it. They go, oh, F Spotify. It's bad for the artist. Yes, in some ways.
But at the same time, it opens doors that you would never be able to open.
Exactly.
On the other platforms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
I use Spotify a lot. I know there's a lot of musicians that kind of bash it, but I mean, there's a lot of features that work really well for me. So.
Exactly.
To admit it, I use it all the time.
Yeah, and if you're...
I'm sorry to the artists.
Hey, you want to have a track with 1 million streams. You just want to. It's just like one of those things, right? And
if it comes to opportunities, people are looking at that. And if you don't have that,
especially,
they might pass you by. So
it's huge. And so it's like I tell everybody it's combo punches, right? Like you can throw one knockout punch. That's great. But can you keep going? Can you string victories together? And you're very good at that. You've already become very good at this. And what I was saying is like you are playing these events like Sens games, which are huge hype factors, and they will help you to release. These will be key for you. They're going to be very beneficial. And videos and everything, it all has to be paired together. Everything has to come out like day after day after day after day. And
the
like
content is
right?
just
a
branding cycle.
So
yeah, we do have a big goal of, man, it would be so awesome if we were playing an original at the Sens game. Like that's when you said that you came out and you guys
but they never asked us back, Jayla. So I mean, there's a difference there, right?
The parking issue though.
It was,
and you know what? There's new ownership now, and they're getting all kinds of bands in there, and they had. It was Oktoberfest themed on Saturday, and they had like the dancers from Kitchener. So I think maybe now's the time to get back in there.
I'm getting back in.
That's what I'm telling everybody.
I'm making new songs. Well, Jayla, but you've done amazing. It's not easy. I mean, people out there, fine, go for it. Follow your dreams, but don't expect anything to be easy peasy lemon squeezy, except for your singing voice, which I hope you take good care of.
I try.
Right?
Try to hydrate here.
How do you do that? You sing so much, right? How many covers do you know? How many covers have you memorized?
I'd say like 100.
Wow.
Maybe.
How do you, when you go about memorizing a new song, is there a strategy to it? Or does it just happen?
Sometimes it just comes naturally. I'm lucky that I can remember a lot of lyrics. But there are a few songs that I just, no matter what I do, I can't memorize them. I don't know what it is.
Been there.
I like writing out lyrics. I find that helps me. Also, I'm usually, if I do it in sections. So if I can remember the first line, I can do the whole song.
Right.
Whereas sometimes the lyrics just fall out of my head.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're gone until I go over the song again, which is so weird.
So annoying.
I forgot the lyrics to Man, I Feel Like a Woman when, a song that I've done probably more than all the others. I forgot, Shania Twain lyrics at the Sens game once, and I just kind of looked in panic to my bass player, Alex. Luckily, that's only happened once.
It happens to me. I think it happens to everybody, unless they just have like that gift of memory. I was talking to like J-Day from Nighttime Drive, and he was saying like he just memorizes, like he just reads it and he memorizes it. And I'm like, I'm just jealous of you because like
What's that like?
I have to write it down like 3 times, listen to it. And doing it in sections, like maybe I'll break it up into verses.
Yeah.
And take it in.
Be like, it's this kind of story. Sometimes if the story is you're like, okay, this is changing.
Yes.
This part of the story is changing.
And like you said, like the 3-word trigger thing. Like if my bassist never forgets the lyrics, and you talk about forgetting the lyrics to other people's songs. Imagine forgetting lyrics to your own songs. And it sucks, people. And then I look over. I look over at the bass player and he's singing the words at me like, you know, singing them at me. And like, you know, he's like, damn it, Warren. And I'm like, well, it just dropped out of my head, you know, like it's,
sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
Like my partner isn't the strongest at remembering lyrics, but the funny thing is he will confidently tell me the wrong lyrics sometimes. Like I turned to him once, I don't remember what song it was, but I was like, I don't remember how this song starts. And he'll be like, standing there. And it's something we joke about because standing there isn't a lyric in the entire song. And then when we recently got to open for the Trews, which was a huge deal. And again, I forgot Shania Twain lyrics to Don't Impress Me Much, which I also play that solo. So it's not only a song that I do with the band. I've done with the band hundreds of times. I've done it hundreds of times on my own. So I turned to Scott again and I was like, I can't remember. He's just like, really smart guy. And the lyric is actually, I've known a few guys who thought they were pretty smart. Like, really smart guy.
Really smart guy.
Yeah, he saved my ass there, but yeah, it's funny when it happens. Or you're like, I don't know the lyrics. And then a millisecond before they just come out of your mouth.
Right,
and you're
like, what is that? Right?
Yeah, like, what part of my brain were you hiding?
Sometimes it's like, I'm like, well, it's either coming out right or it's not. And then all of a sudden there it is. And you're like,
how are you when you don't know the lyrics? Because I'm a deer in the headlights and nothing comes out sometimes.
I've gotten better at...
I'm not a make it up person.
Sometimes I sing like, well, it's more like I'll sing the wrong verse in the wrong order. Sometimes I'll sing the second verse first, and this is mostly with my own music. If I'm just doing a cover and I'm forgetting a lyric, then that's not good. That's bad. Probably not doing anything good. But I mean, yeah, I've gotten better at like maybe faking in my own songs, because I'm like, it's my own song. Even if it's not right.
Yeah, you're like, I feel like
I can still say it however I want to.
I wrote these words.
Right. That's the difference. Because at Canadian Music Week, there was like, they took me by surprise. The guys just started and I was like doing my pacing thing back and forth. And I was not expecting it. Like, I go around and I do props with everybody. I have my ritual. And all of a sudden, they just started. And I think it's because they were under pressure from the guy because we only have 25 minutes. Like, they're like, go, go, go.
Right.
And so all of a sudden they started and my head like did a panic moment. And everything dropped out. And then, like you said, just a millisecond before, just like, blah, comes back to you.
Yeah.
You're like, what is going on?
It's going to come out or I'm going to train wreck in front of all these people.
Oh my gosh. That's the thing about vocalists, right? Like we're always at that point of thriving or diving. Yeah, drowning horribly in our own mistakes. And it's like, we prepare so much too. I know you do.
And all eyes are on you too.
Yes.
Where it's just like if somebody else in the band makes a mistake, it's not as glaringly obvious. But
just a little note.
Yeah.
And you just keep going. So were the Trews nice? Did you get to talk to them?
We didn't, no.
Oh,
no, we didn't get to talk to them.
I've had that experience too. A lot of people are like, oh, I got to hang out with the band all night. I'm like, not me.
Well, I thought I had said to my bandmate Mitch, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. Like, hopefully, we're going to get to like talk to them. And he's like, no, I don't think they really do that. I've heard that they don't really do that. I mean, they were on a really extensive tour, so I wasn't expecting to go and like hang out with the band. But yeah, they did their sound check and we just kind of stayed out of their way. But when we were on stage, they were up in their room and I saw the blinds come down a couple times. So
you see,
they could also be like the original cover band divide as well. I know some people aren't really crazy about bands that do covers. That's okay if it's not your cup of tea.
I think it will help.
Speak for them. I'm not sure, but
it will help you. Like if you are doing your originals and you set your set list up where it's half originals and half covers, I actually think it will benefit you in the early stages of the band until people are like singing your songs along with you, which is the goal. And
that's cool.
Not an easy one either. And it's like, if it ever happens, you're just like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
And like, also people will tell you cool shit. Like you were saying, don't fans ever just come up and like say like, oh, I love your shit or whatever. I get really hilarious stories, like people coming up and saying like, me and my wife here, we make love to Gone and Run Away, and we always put it on with candles. And you're like, okay, I don't need to know that.
Wow.
I'm really happy.
I think that every time now.
Right? People say weird shit. And then also they'll be like, oh, I got hammered to this song, and then I did this, and I did. You're like, cool, man. That's awesome. You know, like, songs do take a journey of their own, which is.
And have different meanings to people.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Me and Skyler played this weird show where we were, I think it was like somewhere on Wellington, and we were basically like on a curb, and it was on a Sunday, so there was crazy traffic coming back. And, I played a song that, I wrote when I was kind of in a darker time, which now, like, I even considered not releasing it just because I thought that the message, it wasn't the most positive message. And every time I'm thinking of, I wrote this, I have 2 nieces that kind of just watch everything that I do. So in my head, I'm like, is that the message that I really want to give them or send them? But anyways, we played this show, and the organizer that had booked us came up to me and he said, when are you releasing that song? I love that song. Like it resonated with me so much. It just like made me hopeful. And that really struck a chord with me because I just thought it was just, I had it in my head that it had a negative message. And he came up and he said the complete opposite. So that was something pretty cool. You never really know how people are going to, receive it. Yeah.
The game of nostalgia is very interesting because we've all lived such interesting lives and met different people, situations. And so the song comes along with these characters, and it can mean anything. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
So I just want to break down here where people can see you this month. I've got the neighborhood pub snowsuit fundraiser. That sounds like a very important event that you're going to be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
I have the musician loading zone petition, which all the musicians should go sign. That's on your Facebook profile.
Yes, please sign that.
Also, go to the Main Street pub, to see, Jayla D with Skyler Radmore, Heart and Crown.
Yeah, I'm there tomorrow.
Deacon Brody's,
yeah.
Chateau Lafayette.
Legendary.
Right?
If you haven't been, go there. They have music every night of the week.
So I'll put a link to your shows coming up below. And people need to get out there and go see Jayla D. Kirkey, give her some love and support. You're going to have some awesome music coming out in the near future. I can feel it. And everybody get ready to get pushed right over by it. It's going to be awesome, and we're just going to have fun. And so that's so exciting that you're back into it, and congratulations on playing such cool shows.
Thank you.
And you deserve it. Whatever you get, you work hard, and always know you work so hard, and it's easy to tell. So thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you for having me on this. I was really nervous to come on here, but this is, you're really good at this.
You're really good at this. And you guys are really good at this.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching and supporting this awesome podcast.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you all again next time on All Worn Out. Bye-bye, everybody.